Right. Hey there, everyone. This is Chaotic Teal, and we are playing some Pokémon. I've got a bit to talk about this stream. Partially, it's been a month and a half since the last time I streamed. Oops. Partially, I have thoughts about this game that I would rather get out there than continue to turn over in my head. So, in the interest of covering all of that, we're doing this. Real quick, before I actually get started doing anything, this is like post game. I have beaten the DLC and I'm just trying to finish up my living dex. So there probably won't be too many narrative spoilers in terms of, well, other than just end state. But, you know, if you want to find the DLC Pokemon yourself, or any of the gameplay and mechanic additions in the DLC, or the base game, this might not be the stream for you, because we're already at the end. So, yeah, that doesn't have what I'm looking for. I might just go to a battle zone while I talk through the stuff that's in my head. While I find where we're gonna go, though, let's start with, it's been a little bit. So, I didn't super intentionally take a break from streaming for the holidays, but that might be too loud. Maybe it's just the intro that's loud. I don't know. If there's audio issues, say something in the chat, I suppose. Anyway, I didn't super intentionally take a break for the holidays, but I got sick. And it was like really weird, head cold, chest cold, something. I tested negative for flu, I tested negative for COVID, but the way I described it was that I was rolling an item block of symptoms every day. That doesn't give me a lot. But a lot of these other ones would be a complete waste. I'll just go with this. So, yeah, I was just weirdly sick and lost my voice completely. It's primarily flying types, so I don't have a good counter to flying. Hit him with a rock? Miss him with a rock? I really need to teach you something other than rock, too. Just flip turn. So yeah, obviously not gonna stream when I can't talk. So I didn't stream when I couldn't talk. And I totally didn't bother to... Let's go with Rock Slide instead of Rock Tomb. Right, you've got Triple Axle, you've got Charge Beam. You're just here. So, finally got better around the start of the year, but it took... another little bit before I really got my voice back and was able to speak effectively. How effectively I am speaking is perhaps a matter of debate, but that's beside the point. I gave Gallade Triple Axle mostly because I think the move is cool, but it's not a great move in this game. Yeah, sorry buddy. We'll revive him after this fight. Oh, good. Old man yells at dragon. Okay. I'll attack him from the high ground because Obi-Wan told me that that's strategic. Since January, though, or really since early January, I've just been struggling to want to, in general. Seasonal depression is not my favorite thing, but it is a thing, and I have it. So that's neat. Whoop. Please zap the bird before she sees me. Thank you. A Charizard? How original. Old man yells at not dragon. So yeah, it's been kind of a crapshoot whether I want to stream, whether I want to go through the setup, whether I want to play any of the games that I'm currently streaming. I do want to finish them. I have canceled more stream projects in the last few years than I would prefer to have. I don't like how many words that was. But point stands. This looks like a job for Greninja. That's not exactly ideal. Nice. Perfectly timed flip turn. So, yeah, I do still plan to get back to Prodigal to finish Mario RPG. Goodness knows I'm overdue for that one. And then I fully intend to continue streaming whatever I stream next. Are you gonna be able to shoot over that hedge? Yeah. Got over that hedge like one of the okayest DreamWorks movies. It sure is. Yeah, no intention to stop streaming. I'm not, in the wave of retirement. It's not really like I even have a need to tire. Okay, good. That should mean that I got the points. Yeah. I didn't have a chance to go for the bonus ball, which is part of what I'm going to be ranting about, but we'll get there. Yeah, fully intend to keep streaming. I'm just very much streaming as a hobby. I have always said that it's more fun to watch someone who is having fun. So, if I'm not feeling like playing whatever game, it makes more sense for me to wait until I am. Holding myself to arbitrary obligations based on expectations that no one has actually set on me isn't fun. So, respectfully, I'm not gonna. Just be what it is, and if that means that I take 2.5 years to get through Mario RPG, then that means I take 2.5 years to get through Mario RPG. And that's okay. I don't really seem to have any donuts that are gonna be particularly beneficial here. I don't know. I'll just use one of these because it isn't gonna take away from the donuts that I'd be better off using elsewhere. So yeah, that's where we're at. Things are gonna remain somewhat inconsistent, more than likely. Whoop. Oh, that's unfortunate. But not for me. Okay, 10. Ooh, you're an alpha trainer. And you're looking this way. I was trying to back off, but I did not have enough time. Alright, send the dragon out against the fairy type. That'll go well. And it did. You know what? I haven't Mega Evolved at all. I don't think I've ever actually used Mega Dramp Pop either. I have it. And now it's gone. Okay. Yeah, the alpha trainers are no joke. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, you went out in style. I did not consider, but should have, the fighting type weakness. Anyway, time to revive my entire team. What? I guess it was a gold bottle cap, but, like, really? You knock out 4 of my Pokemon, and you give me 1 bottle cap? Okay, I can't spend too long just waffling. That's not the correct move. Can Energy Ball reach that high? Nice. Anyway, it's a good thing there was no trainer right here. Why do I speak? I dig. That's not a good matchup. Yeah. This is not going as well as the last one did. And it's mostly just because I'm not playing well. Which isn't the end of the world, but it's a little bit annoying. I also am being forced to reckon with the... I'm being forced to reckon with the fact that my B team is not particularly well balanced. Hopefully I can get at least a 5th trainer here. Maybe someone new has spawned up on the roof. Nope. Down below. Yep. Alright, Grandpa, incinerate that child. Actually, Grandpa in particular would not do that. I think I've pretty well covered where I'm at, where I'm going. I'd like to have a consistent stream schedule again, if only because it would give some meaning to the days of the week that's not just I have meetings on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Oh, that's you. Well, whatever. So... oh, that wasn't... ugh. Well, that transitions really nicely into my rant. So, I really like Legends ZA. I really need to charge my watch, so give me just a moment to set that on the charger. I really like Legends ZA. It solved quite a few of the problems Scarlet and Violet had. Particularly, though I can't speak to its performance on the Switch 1, it has had no issues for me on the Switch 2, and I haven't seen a lot of complaints about performance on the Switch 1, which, again, is a marked improvement over Scarlet and Violet. It's also not a buggy mess. And the taking place entirely within the city is fine. I don't really have any issue with that. I have a fighting... yeah, there we go. Ooh, actually, let's use the alpha one. I definitely think that the single city map could have been executed better. And I particularly think that the DLC could have been integrated significantly better. But the game is good. And it's gotten a lot of low-hanging, lazy devs comments about some of the visuals. First of all, Lazy people don't make games. Games are way too much work to be done by someone lazy. Obviously, that's a generalization, but without going into too much information that was never supposed to be public knowledge, the leaks from the last couple of years have pretty plainly demonstrated that any issues with the Pokémon games are not because the dev team is lazy or doesn't care or doesn't have ideas. I'm never gonna say that the Pokémon devs can do no wrong. They can do wrong. They've done wrong. We'll get to it. But it's not so simple as just being lazy. Okay, I should make up for you. You're gonna be annoying. Okay, cool. I almost completed an alpha dex for the base game. Pancham was one of the ones I was missing. Which was part of why I went ahead and used the alpha demo here. So, yeah. Criticizing things is fine. Constructive criticism is ideal, and it doesn't count as constructive criticism if you just spew whatever vitriol is on your mind and then say it's constructive criticism. That's not how it works. Establish what they did wrong, but present a possibility. It's way more useful and way more productive to talk about what could have been done differently than just bellyache about what was done before. Do that anyway. I love the narrative in this game. I love the characters. The new battle system is a lot of fun, which isn't really something I expected. I don't tend to be as fond of real-time games as I am of turn-based ones. Even though that is, to a point, a flaw in my own playstyle and attention span at this point. Circle Throw does not have much of a cooldown. And like I said, I like all that stuff in the base game, and I like it in the DLC. Continuing to utilize the characters established in the main game was much appreciated. making good use of the couple of new and returning characters. Also appreciated. I really don't have any further reason to be here. So, yeah, there are a lot of things to praise about this game and about the DLC. I like the new megas, both in the base game and the DLC. I have mixed feelings about how many megastones are locked behind PvP, but they have at least made every one of those very readily available. It was a bit of a pain to get the Greninjite at the start, but it takes like 3 matches to get whatever the current one is, and every season they have rerun the rest of the Megastones too. If you picked up this game today and played online, you could get everything. It's the promotion rewards. Yeah, you have to reach rank S from rank Z to get the Swamperdite, but yeah, you get the rest of them very quickly. So, pros and cons. Right, I need to talk to Bleep. Would prefer if they just made all the stones available in the base game and the DLC. We'll get there. We'll get there. But there has been precedent for event-exclusive megas before. I mean, the precedent still isn't available in this game yet. That'll be next season. Blaziken was available as an event distribution in X and Y before, of course, being one of the starters and thus having its Megastone readily available in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The point being, Megastones have never remained event exclusive. The way they're handling it in this case is annoying. I will not argue that point. I do think that it was smart, in a sense, to give people a reason to try the new online mode, because ranked battles online do not function like any battle in the base game. They are 4-player battle royales. They are a chaotic mess, and they're a lot of fun when you're far enough in the game to have fully evolved Pokémon and Mega Evolutions. I do not recommend playing the online mode before you have fully evolved Pokemon and Mega Evolutions. I got my face handed to me. Because what I could bring to bear was a Beedrill. I just think Gallade doing the little spin is cute. Like, look at him go. I've got a knockout unaware opponents mission. Triple Axle isn't gonna cut it. Triple Axle will probably take out Drampa. Good enough. Cool, that was a one-shot. Triple Axle's not gonna cut it on you. Anyway, online multiplayer exclusive, Mega Stones, kinda suck. I don't hate how they've implemented it, but I prefer content to be accessible in the base game. And taking that a step further, the way that they have handled specifically Diancie, Mewtwo, and Zeraora really annoys me. Not... Okay, you hit with takedown, and that... the recoil knocked you out. And the good news about the battle zone is that we're already up to... The good news about the battle zone is we're already up to 15k. So... the whole thing with the legendary and mythicals I just mentioned. During the month and a half between the game releasing and the DLC coming out, they released mystery gifts of Mewtwo and Diancie's Mega Stones. Having those Mega Stones, in turn, unlocks extra missions that allow you to catch Diancie and Mewtwo. Sure, okay. For whatever reason, Zeraora, the Mega for which was one of the first ones revealed for the DLC depends on you having completed both of those missions? Which means that despite not being an event itself, you have to have both events to get it. Now, while the game is actively supported, that's fine. Again, relatively speaking. The events are perpetually available, but eventually servers go down. No, the heck we weren't. Anyway, acknowledging that when the servers go down, the DLC itself will also not be available anymore, which is its own preservation problem. Why? Just... why? They clearly don't have an issue with making mythical Pokémon available outside of events. That's been a trend really since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but particularly since the DLC for Sword and Shield. For anyone who doesn't know, and, you know, spoilers for the Sword and Shield DLC, I guess. You can get Keldeo. This is a nightmare. I just want to find the ball. I'm not gonna get the ball. Darn it. I forgot that the portal in was on the ground. Darn it. That's only a 3-star. Wouldn't hate having an Alpha Tinkaton. I'll go over here. Keldeo in the Sword and Shield DLC. That's what I was on about. It's really funny that Kirlia is on the preview for this. Obviously it's because of the raid, but Kirlia can't fight. Kirlia is not a boxer. I fully expected to be in the sewer again. After Keldeo was available in the Sword and Shield DLC, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl included Mew and Jirachi as save data bonuses. Again, not the preferred means of getting them, but at the very least, save data bonuses will always be available. You need to have more than one game, or at least you need to have the save file for more than one game. I personally have a Let's Go Pikachu save file for its save bonus that I rented from Gamefly, played for 3 minutes until I could actually save the game, and then put back in the envelope and sent back. This is what I do with Gamefly. Don't tell them. I don't think that I have ever actually used them to try a video game. I used to rent DS games from Blockbuster, but Blockbuster doesn't exist, except for that one in, like, Ohio. After Mew and Jirachi, Meloetta is available as a secret Pokémon in the Scarlet and Violet DLC. This game kind of just goes nuts. And again, Pokédex spoilers. So, Diancie and Mewtwo don't really count for this. Again, they're event distributions. But here, Volcanion, Hoopa, the other two Gen 6 mythicals are available in the DLC. The Swords of Justice, including Keldeo, are available, as is Meloetta and Genesect. So that's all the Gen 5 mythicals. Marshadow, Magyarna, and Zeraora, again, event, are all available. Meltan and Melmetal are finally available in a game that's not Pokemon Go. Oops, all mythicals. Every mythical from Gens 5 through 7 can be obtained in this game's DLC. With the asterisk on Zeraora and Diancie. This is a good thing. The asterisk on Zeraora in particular is not a good thing. Oh yeah, also Darkrai. I genuinely forget Darkrai is a mythical. All of the Sinnoh mythicals, Manaphy, Fione, Darkrai, Shaman, my beloved, and Arceus are available in Legends Arceus. Though Darkrai and Shaman do require save data from Sword or Shield and Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, respectively, it's still better than an online event, in my opinion. For those of you who've been keeping track at home, this means that, with exactly 2 exceptions, every single mythical Pokemon from generations 1 through 7 can be obtained in a game on the Switch. And with 2 more exceptions, they can be obtained at any time without any internet connectivity whatsoever. The 2 more exceptions, again, Diancie and Zeraora. You are my child now. And the 2 other Pokemon that are not available on the Switch are Deoxys and Celebi. And that is not necessarily because they were available on the 3DS, but their lack of consistent availability now is a consequence of the disconnect of 3DS Wi-Fi. If you have Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire and Virtual Console Crystal, respectively, you can still get them. If you have Pokemon Bank, you can still transfer them. Again, free of any further need for internet connectivity. But without performing, frankly, astonishingly easy shenanigans, you can't acquire those things on a new system. Video game preservation is in a state, and just want to rule it. You know, I really expected that was going to give me enough points for another special scan. How many points did it give me? Less than 5,000. You seeing this, Trubbish? There's not a single thought behind those eyes. Zero think. Not one brain cell is active in that bag of trash. I love that Trubbish and Garbodor both appear just in alleyways. This game does generally a really good job naturally incorporating Pokemon into the city. Which I have to imagine is a deliberate contrast to the massive green eyesores that are the wild area, or the wild zone. Gates and barriers. Oh! Yes, I will babysit this precious creature for a minute. I love Fido so much. I've just met it, and if anything happened to it, I would attack everyone in this room and then myself. Alright, where are we going, buddy? sorry, false start. Where are we going, buddy? Stairs, take a right. Go down past the park and around. And then come back. Presumably. And, like, these side missions are just adorable. I really like the side missions that focus on a single Pokemon. They're relatively basic, but they just add flavor. They add a little bit of life to what is supposed to be a full city integrated with Pokemon. Oh no, it is an enemy dog. Never mind, it is a friend dog. Just remember, Mastiff, Fido has a type advantage. Okay. We have performed the ritual of people walking dogs talking to other people walking dogs. We may now continue. Oh yeah, and on the subject of mythicals, Zarude is still my nemesis. I despise that thing. Acknowledging that through a combination of save bonuses and perpetual events, and having a 3DS with one of the Gen 3 remakes and Crystal on Virtual Console and Pokemon Bank. Acknowledging that if you have the right materials, you can currently obtain every mythical from Gens 1 through 7, and Pecharunt, the only mythical from Gen 9. Zarude is the only one that's not perpetually obtainable. And it was available for shockingly limited times. It has an alternate version, which is currently one of very few forms, or alternate forms of Pokemon, that I don't have in my full living dex. I had to use shenanigans to get one as a placeholder in my living dex until I got the quest and finished it in Pokemon Go. I don't like Zarude. But back to ranting about this game specifically. The hyperspace areas really really highlight a couple of substantial flaws that were the case even in the base game. Those being a relative lack of diverse locales and the complete inability to move by any way that's not just running around. Yes, Rotom Glide exists, but that's more of a double jump, except you don't have a first jump. It's not just a perpetually usable movement option. And I do like using Rotom Glide, but every other major Pokemon game, starting with Red and Green, has had Bicycle or something. Even X and Y, which introduced Luminos, have roller skates, which are a comparatively more compact and I guess subtle movement option. I mean, you can't even do a fun twirl, and that makes me sad. This still isn't gonna be enough, huh? That's more Toxel. Don't know why I decided that those children needed to be destroyed. They were just guys being dudes. But there's no bike, there's no ride Pokemon. The same information that was never supposed to be public did indicate that ride Pokemon were considered, to the point of being at least partially implemented. Presumably they were cut for performance reasons, which is why we got this game in 2025 and not 2024, and also why the DLC came out barely a month and a half after the full game. Because my guess, at least, only partially able to work from said leaked documents. My guess is that they wanted Generation 10 to coincide with the Series 30th anniversary. I was, like, despite knowing that you cannot fall off the edge of these, there was a voice in my brain as I saw myself walking off into the abyss that went, this is a very bad thing. You are about to perish. Please? Okay, they can move. In the base game, you only encounter Tynamo in water. So I'm not really used to seeing them just doing their thing, flopping around on the ground. it is quite funny that every other water-type Pokemon, even if it's just a fish, just uses its normal swimming animation on land. It just kind of hovers. Like Skarmory. I mean, Skarmory does settle down eventually. Also, yeah, I just happened to find a shiny Alpha Skarmory when I found out that Skarmory could Mega Evolve, and Skarmory remained on my main team for the rest of the base game. But because of the lack of movement options, there's not a lot to break up just running around. Which is, of course, a requirement for every one of these. And that's an obvious point, but something that we talked about in my game design classes in undergrad is that movement is, in most games, what the player is going to spend 90% or more of their time doing. So, if movement isn't fun, that's going to have an impact on the rest of the game. There are times and ways in which movement is fun in this game. I like being able to do things like that. Just roll off a building and Rotom glide to the next one, or climb up some of the suspiciously obstacle course-esque scaffolding. Another 2-star distortion would be just enough to push me over to another special skin. So the game lacks fun movement, for the most part, and no means of normally moving around faster than usual. You can fast travel, but no bike, no ride Pokemon, none of that. Well, that's not ideal. And because there is only the one entry point as a fast travel in these hyperspace zones, you just gotta run around them all. No. Another one. Okay, that counts. Boulders. There are boulders. I don't think any of the ninja's moves can break them. I know drill. Cool. All the little guys. It's not unique to this game, but I really like that different Pokémon have different reactions. It's pretty much limited to 3 broad types. Either they run from you, they attack you, or they go, huh. Anyway. In Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon would sometimes gather around you and react if you spun in place or whistled or anything like that. And that's cool. Especially when you're able to see Pokemon in the overworld. It adds a lot to make them feel like actual creatures. And that means that some of them are going to attack you. But it also means that some of them won't. Some of them are more afraid of you. Some of them just don't care. These hyperspace zones do come in different sizes. They can be small, medium, or large. And obviously, navigation is more or less of a concern depending on the size of the hyperspace area. The problem is, well, the problems are, one, playing into the lack of diverse environments issue. These are just chunks of the main map floating in the void with a couple of different possible configurations of scaffolding and teleporters. There are also only 9 options. Note that this is the 4th zone that I have been to between special scans. And again, minus story-relevant ones, there are 9 total. They can be wild zones, they can be battle zones, but there are only 9 options. Statistically, we've seen half of them. Between one special scan and the next. And going back to the Pokédex to illustrate a point, these three spaces are the Porygon line. You can find Porygon on its own in, I think, 3-star wild zones, but Porygon 2 and Porygon Z require their usual trait evolution unless you find them in a 5-star zone. Rotom is only available in 5-star zones. Gimmighoul is only available in 5-star zones. Honestly, I just really hope that Milotic is available in 5-star zones. I haven't double-checked that yet. The Frigibax line, which was also an advertising point for the DLC, as Baxcalibur has a Mega, only available in 5-star zones. You can get the starters in other areas. And most other Pokemon. Aside from one side quest that you can do once that gives you one of them, the evolution items for Armarouge and Ceruledge are only in 5-star zones, with a special item boost donut. The Swords of Justice, Meloetta, Latias, and Latios are only available in specific 5-star zones. They'll appear differently on the map. You'll get a notification that whichever one of them is present, and you can find and catch it like a normal Pokemon. Their zones have guaranteed spawns. They'll be on guaranteed maps that are still one of the 9. The thing is, okay, the legendaries, the mythicals, if they're not going to have side quests, being in special areas makes sense. That's 7. It's naturally possible to do this faster than I have been, but you have to do this a minimum of 7 times to get all of the legendaries and mythicals. Magyarna just requires a side quest that I haven't been able to do because I still haven't seen a gosh darn Mimikyu. But the other thing is, special scans are the only way to get 5-star hyperspace zones to show up at all. Which means that you need special scans of different types to get the higher evolutions of the Porygon line, Rotom, Frigibax and its evolutions, Gimmighoul and Goldengo, other than the side quest, which is how I've gotten them, but they're not in my living dex. Hopefully, Milotic. The evolution items for these two, which again, you have to go into one of these zones with the right donut effect. And going back to the base game's decks, every Pokemon that was in the base game has its regional variant available in hyperspace. So, Alolan Raichu. Others that I haven't gotten to in the decks yet. The Galarian Slowpoke line. The evolutions for which, again, they at least don't require trades for Galarian evolutions, but you can only find the Galarian ones in the wild in 5-star special zones, or hyperspace zones. Hisuian, Sliggoo, and Goodra, 5-star hyperspace zones. Hisuian Avalugg, 5-star hyperspace zone. There's some overlap. You might be able to find Goodra and, well, Goodra or Bergmite, or Avalugg rather, in an Ice or Dragon zone with the Frigibax line. But you need a Ghost one to get Gimmighoul or Rotom. Actually, I think it's Ghost for Gimmighoul, you need an Electric one for Rotom. You need a normal one for the Porygon line. It's possible to get fire, grass, or water zones that just have starters in them, which is a nice, convenient way to get starters, but not the only way. And again, you need individual special scans for each of these 7 Pokemon. That's a lot of special scans. And every time you have a random selection, it can be a battle zone, in which case, heck you. You can get some nice items from fighting trainers in a battle zone, particularly the bottle caps from the alpha trainers, but you're not catching any Pokemon in there. Maybe you could get the Charcadet evolution items. From what I read on Bulbapedia, which I generally trust, you can only go a maximum of 5 consecutive scans without getting a legendary zone, if there is one. And while I didn't for Terrakion, I did for Virizion, you can reset from a save and retry if you screw up catching whatever legendary. But again, that's 3 to 5 fully explored hyperspace zones, battle or wild, to get a single special scan, which can then randomly be a battle zone, a wild zone, or a special legendary zone. There are 7 legendaries that require individual special scans. There are another half-dozen Pokemon that either require 5-star zones or require them to get in single player. Okay, that's a Gimmighoul one. I hadn't seen that before. This is significant. I need to catch at least 2 of them. Given that it is the only Pokemon that can show up there, that should be doable. Do I have... I have multiple Dark Sparklies, Darklies if you will. I have treasure, coins, and candies. Okay, I'm actually gonna go make a new donut. Oh, please. Ball. Thank you. Do I have much treasure? I've got a decent bit of treasure, yes. From all of my rambling, hopefully you see that this can be a slog. And obviously there are options that simplify things if you're not trying to make a living dex. Most notably, just being able to use the Gimme Ghoul and Golden Go from the side quest. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go with that. The donut animation is cute. And the donuts look really good. I've been craving donuts off and on for the last 2 months because of this game. Okay, item power coins. So this is something. The abilities that a donut has are based on the flavor profile of the donut. But aside from that, they're random. So unlike with Scarlet and Violet, where people have made calculators for sandwiches with specific combinations of abilities, you can never guarantee that you'll get any specific effect. There are different shiny effects for every type. Ideally, you want to keep an item power berries big haul donut available for if you need to farm for more berries. Oh, that's an annoying combination. Catch Pokemon undetected and use the catch window. And they run. Oh, good. I am over the heart-shaped moon. It'll be fine. They're the only Pokemon that can show up here. I believe that this is also currently the only way to get shiny Gimmighoul. Okay, I didn't realize you had nothing personnel kitted me. One. Turn around. Thank you. Ah, crap. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. Mega Greninja can one-shot them. Otherwise, I don't think we're completing all the objectives here. How did you miss? What? Ooh, is that an alpha? It is. That at least means it's not gonna run away. It also means, oof, ouch, my bones. Cool. We've definitely got enough for the living dex now. And I have long since had enough coins to evolve another. Okay, tell me I've gotten an auspicious armor. Okay, good. That's one more I'll be able to mark off the list. I didn't mean to do violence against you, but here we are. Okay, now to find the bonus ball. I found the bonus ball. Completing all of the missions while you're in the special scan zone does tend to at least put you close to halfway, which is nice. I wish you could find roaming Gimmighoul here. That would be another nice, no longer Pokemon Go exclusive. The Pokemon series has always really liked its stuff that requires more stuff. It is a fact of Pokemon. But that doesn't mean it's not at least a little bit annoying. So, yeah, these... I don't have a lot to talk about with just running through these hyperspace zones. And some of that is, we've already seen most of the possible missions. Catch some number of Pokemon undetected. Catch some number of Pokemon using the catch window. Destroy some number of floating Pokeballs. Some number of different species of Pokemon. Which sometimes you just get unlucky and you can't do, because enough species will not spawn. Thankfully, you can only catch a shiny Pokemon, catch an alpha Pokemon, or catch a shiny alpha Pokemon if you've used donuts with the associated effects. It never pulls a screw you, find a full odds shiny nerd. Or even, screw you, find a full odds alpha. Because that's a 1%. Also, I caught a bajillion Phoebus before I realized that the Prism Scale is a trait evolution. So, again, I'm really hoping that Milotic is available by some normal means. Because otherwise I will be very sad. Where do you go? Not here. Here. You. That'll give me both of those in my living decks. It's nice to have a game that I can actually get Armor Rouge in. I may vastly prefer Screw Edge, but I like both of them. They look like Mega Man characters, and I think that's neat. Okay, you can go there. And you can go with your little sister and slightly edgier cousin. Yeah, I did mention that I had the majority of an alpha dex for the base game. I also made a point to get alphas of every mega that I could. The DLC I have been notably lacking on because so here's the other shoe for this whole mess. The Hyperspace Pokédex adds 132 more Pokémon. 100 less than the base game. With the exceptions of the legendaries and mythicals that you get from specific side quests, and really excluding the 7 special scans from those. Every Pokemon in the DLC is only available in hyperspace. Now, we've run through several of these hyperspace zones during this stream. And I'd already run through some of them on my own. But you can see there's a random selection of Pokemon in these. There are several different variations for each type. As you can see with this one, they can be a combination of multiple types. They're not restricted to only the Pokemon on the preview window, but my general philosophy is do not go in expecting a Pokemon that's not there. I developed this philosophy as an innovation after going into a Slowpoke zone, hoping for Slowking. But the other issue, I can forgive Amora and the other fossils, because they're not available in the wild. You have to buy the fossil and revive the fossil in the base game. But Onix, Fletchinder, every Pokemon in this zone, Rubbish, the Pikachu line, actually, and Tynamo, and everything here too. A lot of these zones don't even have many or any of the DLC Pokemon. Which is, again, why my dex is lacking any of the Porygon line. Why my dex is lacking Mimikyu. I don't know what it's gonna take for me to evolve Galarian Yamask. It's like a whole ritual in Sword and Shield. I haven't started working on that yet. I was going to say I took care of Quillfish and Basculegion, but I did take care of Quillfish. If it says anything about my overall frustration with the process of completing the decks in this game, I always start Pokemon games when I'm playing them casually with the full intent of completing a living dex of at least the new Pokemon. In cases like Legends Arceus and ZA, I just go for a living dex of every Pokemon in the game. Be able to get some shiny mythical when I transfer them into home later. The DLC came out on, what, December something. It was either December 11th or December 18th. I think it was the 11th. Either way, just under 2 months ago. In that time, I have most of a living dex. The ROM hack Pokemon Too Many Types 2 came out also December. I mean, this is something I can just check. December 19th. The Pokédex in that game comprises nearly 400 Pokemon. I completed the Pokédex in Too Many Types 2. I have yet to complete it in this game that came out, well, the DLC came out before Too Many Types 2, and it has every modern convenience I could ask for. I will say that having the multiplayer locked Megastones that have been progressively available every 3 or 4 weeks has given me a reason to come back and make a little bit more progress every few weeks. But man, I've got another five legendary special scan zones I need. I need to find a freaking Mimikyu at some point. You know, I do have Mabosstiff. Is it in the Living Dex? Yes. I just never marked it. I'm missing 14 Pokemon. Of those, 9 will require special scans, and none of them overlap. Well, except Porygon 2 and Porygon Z, which will also cover Porygon just that. That's another roughly 40 to 50 hyperspace zones. In addition to the special ones. And that's if I get lucky. And that means that I'm likely going to see every map at least 5 times. Well, hello. Okay, Cerebi, please tell me. Oh, huh. They're going to... reveal their 30th anniversary plans during the Super Bowl. Okay. So that's a thing. I mean, I expected, and I think I still expect, a Pokemon Presents on the 27th. Oh, cool. And the soundtracks for this game come out in April. Okay, anyway, actually looking for... Man. Hopefully someone set up a consistent trading code for people looking to evolve Phoebus. 'Cause you sure can't find it in the wild. Cool. Fun and festive. So, I've spent a fair bit of time at this point diving into and demonstrating the things that frustrate me about this DLC. But I also made a point earlier to note that it's better to bring other options to the table. And that's true. I don't want to exclusively sit here in my chair and tear down what's here without bringing up any better possibility. So, things that I would have done differently. The time limit on these hyperspace zones, which is a hard time limit, if the Pokeball is not done shaking when the timer expires, you did not catch the Pokeball. You can do sort of roguelite setups in Pokemon. The Sword and Shield DLC with the Dynamax Adventures is a fairly good example. But the time limit here is frustrating, and we don't even get a proper this is how long you have when you're in the hyperspace zone. Oh yeah, I have no complaints about these boss fights. There's even a boss rush of every single Rogue Mega battle from both the base game and the DLC. We have yet to beat it. I really want to do it without having to resort to cheese strats, but I may have to resort to cheese strats. Oh, darn it. Was very slightly too early on sending him back out. Greninja and Starmarine are on my B team now, but they were both part of my main game team. I think this actually is the Greninja that falls from Brokey you get in the side quest. And another point to just emphasize how much I like the Megas in this game. Mega Frostlass looks crap. I have no notes. I'm glad that the effectively counterpart to Gallade also got a Mega Evolution to match its non-gender specific evolution. Gardevoir and Gallade, Glalie, and Frostlass. My words didn't wordly. So, again, things I'd do differently. Give me roller skates for one thing. Please. You don't have to give me a ride Pokemon if that doesn't fit into the performance whatever for the game. But at least give me roller skates. I want my Heelys. Rather than having these discrete wild zones, I would have loved to see, rather than the discrete hyperspace zones, I would have loved to see a effectively a secondary hub. You know, the Sword and Shield DLC added the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. Scarlet and Violet added Kitakami and the Blueberry Academy. And the Pokemon in the DLC, and some new ones, and some existing ones, spawn in those new areas. I want that, but make it like MC Escher Distortion World, trippy as all get out. You know, you could do something weird with the existing assets from Lumiose City. The buildings, the scaffolding, some of the more unique natural stuff, like, heck, bits of Prism Tower or Quizartico. You could have a really interesting and unique secondary overworld that is just a collected hyperspace Lumiose. That would have been rad, and it would have solved a lot of my frustration with the inability to catch any of these Pokemon without relying on the random numbers feeling generous. Those are the two biggest things. You know, honestly, just make the donuts like the sandwiches, or well, I guess the curry didn't really give you any bonuses. But make the donuts like the sandwiches. Just give me a time-limited buff of some kind, preferably more predictable than it's gonna be something that's this color. And we're good. And I feel like that would have solved some significant issues people have with the base game as well. The fact that you can only go into the city. Well, now, here's parts of the city, but they're all twisted around and wrong in more ways than just being monochrome with an iridescent filter. Like, these areas with the music, they're eerie, don't get me wrong. But that kind of wears off when you've seen same section, you know, around the museum 12 times. More than that. This is the third or fourth time just on this stream. In the ball. Thank you. Have a nice day. I do also get that Koopa's involvement in getting you in and out of these hyperspace zones is a significant part of the DLC. I think that works just as well if you need Hoopa to take you in and out of a larger connected area, or even if you want to include the back and forth different areas thing. Make it sort of like the underground in the Sinnoh games, where depending on where you enter, you get to a different chunk of hyperspace. Just make it consistent and not copy-pasted from 3 blocks around the museum. Ultimately, I do know that developer time and resources are limited. I did not realize the burn was doing that much damage. I don't think I've found the bonus ball yet, have I? I genuinely don't remember. Well, I sure hope I did. Already got a little in Marowak, it's fine. I also would have liked it if the Pokemon that just evolve into different forms, like Cubone, Pikachu, Goomy, if evolving them in hyperspace would have evolved them into their regional variants. Because that's something that at least Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon did. I need like one thing. It's up there. Do I have a catch power normal? It's not like I necessarily need it. But, you know, it's the principle of the thing. I want to say that I'm due for another legendary zone after this. I might not have gotten to 5. They detected me? Yes. That one hadn't. Even though I basically walked in front of it and threw a ball. Cool. Gaming. I'm about 99% sure that I lost a shiny fletchling a couple of weeks ago. I heard the sparkle. I was running around to try to find it, and then I saw a slightly darker fletchling mid-flight because it was grouped up with the fletchling that just landed somewhere and fly off when you spook them. So that was sad. I found a shiny fletch in there, so it's not like that kept me from getting the rest of that line. But, man... Yeah, they also randomly updated, or in an update, like last week, or the week before, they just randomly increased your Mega Shard capacity to 9,999 instead of just 999, which is very nice because you get those in droves in the Mega Dimension. I don't really get why Bumblebee are aggressive. I mean, I have been tangential to Monty Python and Holy Grail playing twice. I'm aware of the Killer Rabbit. Played 1,000+ hours of Terraria. But like, why do these bunnies want my blood? I mean, heck, on the note of bunnies wanting my blood, I've read Bunnicula. Granted, I think the whole thing with Bunnicula was that the vampire bunny drained the juice from fruits and vegetables. It's a bunny, they're not carnivorous. There's the bonus ball. No matter what level of hyperspace you're in, the bonus ball always has some good stuff. I think it's pretty well guaranteed to have hyperspace berries. Okay, I don't have to start a fight with this group of cats. You know, out of context, that feels like a threat. I know that it's because I have set my Switch to annoy me if I'm playing it past 11:30. So I will hopefully get my butt to bed. But without that context, just the pop-up 30 minutes left. That's vaguely threatening. Thank you. I had in my head the EV and Gimme Ghoul hyperspace zones we just ran through on this map. Don't remember where the exit is. Can you... That's a melee distance move, isn't it? Yeah. Starmie is gonna be better suited to that. You can fly. Go. There's a straight line for you. Triple Axel is not a great one. But I do think it's silly. And I like that. Okay, let's see what this last special scan is going to give us. Actually, before that, I kind of want to put together a new outfit, rather than the great value Luigi look that I've been using for the last couple of weeks. I think that I've already selected my favorite color combos in most of these. I wish the emerald scarf didn't also mean white pants, though. Yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I do appreciate that getting Ivor's outfit instantly applies anchor arms. But I appreciate that clothing is equipable regardless of gender. I get some disappointment that there really aren't a lot of proper skirts. It's pretty much all skirts. And whatever godforsaken This. I really don't have an emerald belt for this one. I really like that you can mix and match the variants when they have multiple pieces with customizable color. It's still cold out, so I'm leaning towards something with long pants, long sleeves. I could make my objective absolutely garish eyesore. Yeah, that's funny. Let's do it, at least for now. Is that the most awful option I can think of? Is it tackier if I've got these RGB cargo pants with a suit jacket? You know what? I think I already dislike the idea of making the tackiest outfit I can. We can retire the gamer pants. Right, is this one a... Oh, I didn't. It's just for the moment. Yeah, it's a darker green, not the emerald green that I like. We'll go with that. That's not bad, but it does make the pants look too formal. I think I like the blue-gray with this more than the black. Yeah, that's just too much. That's just too much. I don't hate this with either shorts or a skirt, but it does feel top-heavy. I don't like wearing long sleeves with shorts IRL. Let's just go with that. Do I want a hat? This one does feel like it fits. That's a darker purple. I think we go hatless. I've become rather fond of trying to collect all of the cosmetic items in Pokemon games. I'm not sure that I've succeeded in any game except maybe Legends Arceus. And in that case, only because there aren't as many. Yeah, I think I prefer the rectangular frames. Those are closer to my actual glasses at any rate. It's not even close to the same purple. And it's not really what I'd describe as lavender either, though maybe that's just in contrast to the darker purple on the vest. Gloves are the type of thing that I'll usually go without in games, though I do like this style. Mostly because it's got the same kind of feel as support gloves or art gloves. It's not covering the right fingers to be an archery handguard. First, shoes. We actually do have the rest of the colors for these to work. I don't think it's quite the same purple as the vest, but it's at least closer than the other purples we've seen, and it doesn't feel that... It doesn't feel like it clashes because they're not right next to each other. Yeah, we can go with that. Okay, temporarily, just so I can see socks. The fact that I have yellow-black and black and yellow is making me think of B-movie. colorful tights are very colorful. I think they actually have the same purple as the vest, though. So that's nice. It does highlight the difference between them a little bit more. The purple on the shoes is slightly bluer. Purple on the tights and jacket is slightly redder. I really like these giraffe rig tights. I had them for a good while with shorts as part of my main outfit. I'm honestly a little surprised that they give you these. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, with the purple tights, do we have... Oh yeah, I don't know that anyone's around, but are sock sneakers like this a thing? My gut reaction is extreme discomfort. Like, do they... Are these real? Are there sneakers that have, like, built-in socks? I don't like that. It's completely possible that that is a... me being... an out-of-touch young adult. Distant from the preferences and interests of the youth. Yep, that's roughly the same purple. I don't like the shoes and socks matching like that, though. We can go with just the standard black. Do I want to change off of the shiny phalanx satchel? I don't know that I do, but I'll still look at my options. It is about the same purple. I think it looks different mostly because of texture. I do like the Aurora satchel. I like Auroras in general. I think I'm gonna stick with the shiny phalanx, though. Do I want earrings as part of this outfit? I'm not sure that I do. I don't think so. I do want to change my color contacts, though. Yeah, we can go for purple. Now, I need to actually run that special scan here in a minute, but first, I did all of that stuff to change my general look. I really need the hair to match. This is how long I take every time I try to put together a new outfit in this game. I spend way more time on video game character customization than I do on my own appearance 99 times out of 100. The ponytail is still my favorite hairstyle. I do like this mess. And I kind of like this as well. Without the hat, I might go for long and wavy again. This is, again, probably the closest to my actual hair. The side ponytail is fun. As are the various characters' hairstyles that you can get. That's another DLC thing. I don't think I have the vibe for the drill hair. Let's go for the side ponytail. Change things up a bit. Okay, base color. I think I'd rather do the purple as an accent. So let's see how this looks with various colors first. That's almost shiny Hisuian Zoroark. I think that's closer to the Hisuian Zoroark, though. Let's see how this looks with the blocking. Actually, I like that a lot. Alright, alright. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Then I'm gonna run this special scan, but unless it's legendary, I think we're gonna end stream once I've run it. Yep. Hit me with your best scam. Really? 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 With all due respect, I don't think I'm gonna learn squat. Have I never looked to that side of the room? I mean, it took me until the post-game to look to this side of the room. So, it's very possible. And I think only because a DLC post-game hyperspace side quest is right there. That is a normal frog. Frog spotted. Target lock. Anyway, gonna wrap it up here. I have ranted about all I wanted to rant about. I have talked more casually about all I wanted to talk more casually about. Hopefully, I will get back to either Prodigal or Mario RPG within the next week or so. We will see. Till then, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for sticking with me despite the complete and utter inconsistency of my streaming in the last couple of years. And I'll see you next time. Later.